Well, hello xenographers everywhere and welcome to another episode. And this week we've got something a little bit different. This week we're going to go into town and we're going to shoot two beautiful little film cameras, which I will demonstrate thusly. We've got firstly the Olympus OM2 with, what have we got on here? We've got the 100mm f2.8 on this camera, and we've also got this beautiful little machine. This is the Nikon FE, and so on here we've got the 85mm f2. So they're kind of broadly similar lenses. Give a roughly similar image. They've both got quite a bit of reach and they're both lenses that I really like. We've got 36 exposures in each camera. We've got Earl Grey from Lomography 100 ASA. We've got one roll in here and we've got one roll in here. So we're going to go out into the city and we're going to see how these cameras compare. They are both auto exposure cameras and I'll be shooting them exclusively on aperture priority auto exposure. The idea being to test them out in the field. They're very similar machines and they're from a broadly similar time. Which autofocus system will perform better? I don't really know. Which will be the most easy in use and operation? I really don't know. Which camera I like the best after that process is done? Again, I'm really not sure, but hopefully this episode is gonna help anyone who wants to get into film photography to decide between these two cameras. These are both fantastic little machines. They're both extremely well made and they both offer a really good way into film photography. They are sort of prosumer slash professional level cameras, and they will both last a very, very long time. These are not consumer grade cameras. So these are cameras that you would buy to last a long, long time, and they both will do that with good service and a little bit of care. So, without further ado, let's get on our way. The city is very, very quiet today. Have a look. Almost no cars, almost no people, so we're still really, really quiet. So, one of the reasons I'm doing this today, apart from having a nice day out shooting, which is always nice, is to get the feel of these cameras. I've used the OM2 quite a bit before. Sorry about the wind, by the way, if that's interfering with the sound. I've used the OM2 quite a bit before and I know pretty much what that's like to use, but I've not used the Nikon camera, this camera, really very much at all. So let's get a little shot with this one, see what we can do. This Nikon is so well made, it just feels fantastic in your hands. It's built like, what can I say, like a tank, I suppose I can say. It's pretty tough anyway. Very, very nicely made, very, very solid machine. It just fills you with confidence. You don't have any doubts that it's not going to work or it's not going to do what it's supposed to do. It's just always there and ready when you need it. It's a cheesy shot, I know, but it is an iconic one and it's a pretty good one. So I'm going to give myself a pass. Focusing is so easy on these SLRs. It's so much easier than shooting with, even with focus peaking. This is much, much easier. With big bright viewfinder and that split image rangefinder. Just lovely. These are early auto exposure systems, and we can't expect them to be as good as those of today. In fact, even modern systems can get the exposure wrong occasionally. Having said that, I must say the Olympus overexposed more shots than did the Nikon, and it does seem to have a tendency towards doing that. If we look at this shot of the boat on the river, the whole thing is overexposed. The camera seems to have exposed for the water, and so the whole thing is rather overexposed. Fortunately, film handles overexposure better than digital, so you can pull it back. The information, unless you go really over the top, the information is still there. It did shoot most shots correctly as well. The Nikon got the river shot correctly exposed. It's exposed for the boat rather than the river, so the boat and the buildings, which are the main focus of the image, are correctly exposed. In fact, it got the exposure correct much more often than the Olympus did. I don't know if there's a fault with the Olympus or whether that's an inherent feature of the system. I really don't know. The Nikon did make a couple of overexposed shots too, but not as many as the Olympus. In fact, the Nikon seems to be set up towards a slight underexposure, and that might go some way towards explaining things. One curious thing, and this is a really odd thing that I can't fathom, is that the shots from the Olympus are consistently more grainy than the Nikon shots. The Nikon shots are much smoother and much softer with far less visible grain. That's despite using the same film stock, the same developer, the same development times, everything the same. It's really odd, and I can't quite get my head around that one. So there we are, that's the two rolls finished. So we've got 36 with the Nikon, and it's a lovely 85mm lens, and we've got 36 with the little Olympus and its lovely 100mm lens. What can I say? Well, I prefer the OM2 simply because it's smaller. It's not quite as well made. It doesn't feel quite as tank-like in its construction. The Nikon does feel rather better made, but all things considered, I do kind of like the Olympus better. Really just because it's small and it's portable and it suits the size of my hands better. What I don't like about the Olympus is this on-off switch, which I have on a couple of occasions forgotten to switch on. On the Nikon, that's no problem. All you do is flip out the wind lever and you're switched on. It'll stay there in the out position and you're switched on. So you can't forget to switch the electronics on. So you won't miss a shot because you've forgotten to switch on, and that's a really good feature. But they're both beautiful little machines. The Olympus is slightly different in layout. It's got the shutter speed dial around here, around the lens mount on a concentric ring, but you do soon get used to that. And if you're shooting on auto exposure, on aperture priority, which both these cameras have, you don't need to bother about changing speeds anyway. They're both beautiful machines. They'll both give you fantastic images, and they're both readily available. A good OM2 with maybe a 50mm 1.8 will cost, what, somewhere around 120 to 150 pounds, and the same for a Nikon FE, actually, with a similar lens with the 50mm 1.8, although you might get the Series E lens with the Nikon for that price. It's a fantastic little lens, and I like it. It's you know, by no means a second-rate lens. Both similar prices, both kind of similar in what they can do, but personally I prefer the Olympus because of its size. So once more, that's it from me for now. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button, and please do ring that bell before you go. And if you like the content on this channel and you want to support it, help it develop and grow, you can do that at patreon.com/zenography. As ever, thank you very much indeed for watching. I've had a lovely morning's shooting, and I will see you next time for some more Zenography.